Welcome to Ulterior Moto, your home for riders, reviews, and how-tos. Today we are going to look at a Quadlock phone mount clamp pro. I've used a different brand in the past that had a more universal type adapter to handlebars, and while the adapter was just fine, on multiple occasions I nearly lost the phone. And it had this other apparatus that you had to put over top of it to make sure that that didn't happen, which was a huge pain in the butt. I've heard nothing but good things about Quadlock though, so I decided to give them a try. So we'll just walk through the installation here and I'll test it out at the end. I went to quadlockcase.com to order mine. So simply going to the motorcycle section, selecting the type of phone you have, whether you want a charging case or an original case. I picked the original. Handlebar mount, and then the specific mount you want. I went with the Handlebar Mount Pro, which is the black anodized one. They also have a chrome one if that suits your taste. I also got the vibration dampener as well because I did have an issue with my older phone and my older mount that affected the camera. The handlebar mount will work with any handlebar clamps that use M8 fasteners to hold them down. There are a few tools we're going to need for this procedure, including the 5mm hex key, which I have attached to my ratchet here. We're going to need a torque wrench to tighten down the new bolt, and that's going to need the ever so uncommon 13mm socket. Before threading the bolt in, you'll need to remove the plastic indexing cap. Then as we thread this in, we can see that the bolt actually bottoms out in this application without any spacers. So what we will need for the Speed Twin is the long spacer only. Okay, I don't see any play there. Snug that down, then bring out the torque wrench. Next, you can attach that socket to your torque wrench. For the Speed Twin specifically, it's 26 Newton meters or 19 pound-feet. If you have a different bike, check your service manual, make sure you get the correct torque specs. The next piece determines the rotational orientation and the angle of your phone case. And it's got those teeth on the bottom. I do want to point out that on all the bolts that I've seen so far, they put thread locker on them. Excellent, I appreciate that. Comes with a hex key. I'm sure if you're anything like me, you have a pretty good collection of these already. So what I want to do, I think I want to line that up so it's even with my bar clamps as much as possible. There you go. I'll tighten down that screw. If you purchase the vibration damper, this is a great time to use it. Just as a side note, pet peeve, damper or dampener, they're both interchangeable. Why not use the shorter word? So the damper comes with its own thread locked bolt there. Stick the supplied Allen key through it. Lastly, we'll put on our release mechanism. I really like that on this version, all the hardware is black. keeps it looking stealthy. I will say it does look really nice. It's got like a felt lining in there to protect the surface on the back of the phone. It does have a really stiff, nice quality to it. You know, a lot of the cheap phone cases are really flimsy, but this is a fair bit sturdier than one of those. That is a good tight fit. I like that. Now that we've got all the components put in, then we can adjust the angle. I'm going to say maybe something like that. There is a screw on the left side here that you can tighten down. And if we need to adjust that later, we'll do so. There we go. So as we can see, the Quadlock mount has these 4 tabs on it. There are 4 recesses in the back of the phone case. If you're new to it, it does take a little time to get the handle of it, to get the feel of it. I am new to this, so I've tried this several times already, and let's take a look at it. Unfortunately, there is no like centering mechanism to make sure that you get it oriented just right. After fooling with it for a while, it does become a little more intuitive. But I think there could be like a location device on it that helped you center it and get things lined up just right. That would be a little improvement that they could make. Another thing we're going to want to evaluate here is this in the field of view that you want it to be? If it's way too low, it might be cut off by the chin bar on your helmet. If it's too high, it may obscure the vision you have for your gauges. I don't know. This is just kind of the default position. And when I sit on the bike and I'm in the riding position, I tell you, this is about perfect because it's just at the bottom of my gauges, so it's not interfering with anything else, which means it's about as high as it possibly could be. I could also orient it landscape if you prefer that view, but typically I do have it in portrait mode. Yeah, I think this is dialed in. So what I'm really fascinated by at this point is the vibration damper, because if I just kind of jiggle the phone, it seems like it wants to move pretty easily. But the true test will be when we're out on the road. And will it jiggle out there, or should it remain steady like it's supposed to? Let's take the bike out and figure that out. After going through this process, installation, testing, and whatnot, here are my 4 takeaways on the Quadlock with the Handlebar Pro mount. 1, installation, really straightforward. It does require a couple of your own tools to do, but those are tools that are going to come in handy if you don't already have them anyway. I wouldn't say it's any easier or harder than the bar style clamp mounts. but they do feel more secure. And that is leading me to my next point, security. On 2 levels here. With the bar mounts, I'm always a little concerned that I have to really torque them down or they're gonna slide and spin on the bar. Now, if you have a Triumph, like this one, and maybe some other brands as well with tapered bars, that also doesn't work out all that great. And if you have a lot of curves to your bars or not a lot of space to put something, also becomes an issue. But with this, it mounts really securely to that one stud. That works out great. And on the other level, I'm not worried about this going anywhere. It's gonna stay put. That's great. When it comes to ease of use, however, I think it's pretty much a wash. The other brand that has the spring-loaded arms on it and then the rubber thing you got to put on it, that's clunky, and it has an extra piece, whereas this, no extra pieces to worry about, but you do have to get the phone case perfectly lined up and you can't see it as you're doing it. So those tabs have to be lined up. It has to be on the same plane as the lock. So you can't have it angled or it won't work. You have to have it rotated just right. I'm still fumbling around with it. I wish that wasn't the case. And then lastly, protection. Having this vibration dampener on it, time will tell how my camera holds up on that, but I'm pretty confident it's not going to suffer the same fate as my old camera with my old phone did. And if you had that problem too, at least what you're going to get out of that is that your phone makes this weird buzzing sound anytime you have the camera on and it gets slightly even bumped. So it looks like they've gone to great lengths to eliminate that from this mount. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm pretty confident that they got it right. So yeah, I think at least at this point, I'd recommend the Quadlock Pro.